Well, hey friends, this is Kathi Lipp, and I was so honored to present at MomCon this year, and I'm even more thrilled that I get to be with all of you. I am talking about the Clutter-Free home. This is a real life system to help you stay on top of the clutter in your home, because clutter is just a reality of life. Let's just be super honest here. And so you're never going to give away all your clutter. You're never going to get rid of all your clutter, but you can get rid of it and then management. And that's what I want to help you with today. But before we get started, I want you to pull out your cell phone and I want you to text to CFH, Clutter-Free Home, LEAD, L-E-A-D, to this number, 855-614-9392. And what I want to do is I'm going to send you a packet of all the materials you would need to lead Clutter-Free Home in your group. And so we're going to send you weekly challenges, a video that you can use in your group, planning sheets, to-do list, a calendar, room vision sheets. You don't even know what those are, but I promise you'll understand better after today's presentation. Even craft ideas, scripture ideas for each room, and downloadable graphics to share within your group. So I'm just so excited that we can make these materials available to each and every group. The book comes out in February, so if you want to plan this for your March meeting, you will have everything you need. We'll get you the leadership kit sometime in January, and you'll have everything you need to be able to lead the Clutter-Free Home in your group. Now, plus, there's Harvest House, my publisher, is going to be giving away about 100 copies of the Clutter-Free Home, my brand new book coming out in February, to groups who are leading. So if you want to be one of those 100, be sure to text in and we will get in contact with you and we will choose 100 groups to receive a free copy of the book. Now, so this is the Clutter-Free Home. Many of you have also already participated in Clutter-Free, my book that came out in 2015. And I know a ton of groups have done this book, and I'm so excited that I've been able to be a part of your group. So much has happened with this book since we released it. It's just been crazy. So one of the opportunities that we have for you is if you want to get some extra accountability, some extra direction when it comes to becoming clutter-free, here is a great opportunity for you. We have a Facebook group. It's called Clutter-Free Academy. And if you just look for Clutter-Free Academy on Facebook and you go over there and you ask to join, now they're going to ask you a series of questions. Just say to your answer, Kathi told me to join, and we will let you write in. But this is a group of thousands and thousands of women and a few brave men even who are working daily on their clutter. And can I just tell you, miracles are happening every day over there. So we'd love for you to be a part of it. Since writing Clutter-Free, I've learned so much more about decluttering and what it takes to live in a decluttered space. And after 5 years of putting all those principles into practice, we have learned so much more. Our whole lives have changed. So if you had said, I want to drop by for coffee at your house, Kathi, I would have said, you need to give, this is probably about 15 years ago, you need to give me 2 weeks notice and bring your own coffee cup. Because let me just tell you, I didn't even know if I would have a clean coffee cup for you to be able to come over and drink from. That's how bad my life was. My dad was a hoarder, and I never really learned the principles to keep clutter-free in my life, but our whole lives have changed. 15 years ago, bring your own coffee cup. Now, here we are, several years later, and one of the biggest changes that has happened in our lives is that my husband and I run 2 different houses that we live out of each half of the year. So half the year we're in Somerset, California, and half the year we're in San Jose, California. And between these 2 houses, not only do we Airbnb them, but we also, in one of the houses, this is our house in the mountains in Somerset, we have writers' retreats about once a month. And here's the beautiful thing thing, my friend. We have people coming to our house with less than 4 hours notice. Our house has to be clutter-free all the time. The one in Somerset and the one in San Jose. And we have applied these clutter-free principles. And not only has it changed the peace level in our house, it's also changed our financial lives to be able to have people come at the last minute. When we're on vacation, we can have somebody come and stay in our house without having to overhaul the entire house because we're living clutter-free. It has changed every aspect of our lives. We can have people come over at the last minute. We've even had people, evacuees from the campfires that happened in Northern California that devastated Paradise, California. We were able to have people come and stay in our house at the last minute with no notice whatsoever. And those evacuees, we had a series of evacuees who stayed in that house, and we were able to host them because we live clutter-free now. Let me tell you why I'm so passionate about becoming clutter-free. It's been such a journey for me, and what I've come to understand is clutter isn't just about the stuff in your house. Clutter makes you miss the best things in life. Several years ago, my husband and I were speaking in Illinois, and one of the things we like to do when we are traveling is to try new restaurants, try places we hadn't been before. But sometimes we don't have a lot of time, so a good hamburger joint will do that for us. We're happy with that. And so one of our friends said, hey, you should try Freddy's. Freddy's is a great hamburger place. You're really going to enjoy it. Well, it was a really stressful day, and we just had a little bit of time. So we were getting ready because we were speaking that evening, but we had a bunch of things we had to do that day. So we were getting ready in the hotel room, and my husband is looking in the mirror, and he's saying, Kathi, I just feel so old. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I just feel super, super old. And I'm like, okay, baby, you're adorable. You're darling. Are you kidding me? You're the cutest guy in the world. Okay, are we done? Because I don't have time for your midlife crisis right now. And so we get to Freddy's and we order our hamburgers. Can I just say that was disappointing? I know some of you are fans of Freddy. That is the thinnest hamburger I've ever had in my entire life. It's like eating a meat doily. It was not my favorite. So we ate it. It was kind of a stressful lunch. We were both feeling overwhelmed. And so what I said, okay, Raj, can you take care of our garbage? I'll refill our drinks, and I will, then we can get going. So we're getting ready to go, and I hand the drinks to Roger. I put them out there, and I look at him, and I'm like, oh, wow, he is kind of looking old. Like, it hit me all of a sudden. And then I realized I must have been really, really overwhelmed because I wasn't handing the drinks to Roger. You see, I was handing them to Freddie, who is 93 years old, owner of Freddy's Hamburgers, and by the way, dead. And that's a cardboard cutout. Yes, I was handing my drinks to a cardboard cutout. But if you can look at this picture, you can see where my confusion came in. But this is what happens when we're overwhelmed. We miss the best stuff. And we miss the best stuff from our friends and our family and the people we love. And that's not what I want from you. I want you to live in a place of peace. And here's what I really know about being overwhelmed and clutter. Overwhelm is decision fatigue. It's like, I just can't make one more decision. I can't figure out where to put this, so I'm just going to put it here for now. I cannot make one more decision. And clutter is the physical manifestation of decision fatigue. Clutter is like, I cannot figure out one more thing. So overwhelm is clutter. When our house is overwhelmed, when we are overwhelmed, we're missing out on the best things in life. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to invite people in at the last minute. I want you to be able to invite that person over for coffee that you so desperately want to connect with. I want all those things for you. So that's why we're going to be talking about the clutter-free home today. And I want to tell you some of the principles I have learned in these past few years since writing Clutter-Free that have really changed my perspective on clutter. So these are what I want to call them, the 9 life-changing truths about clutter. Okay, so number one, clutter is never one and done. Yeah, I'll never forget when Roger, he knew I was overwhelmed, so he did laundry one day. And not only did he wash and dry it, which I think most people consider that doing laundry, it's not doing laundry. The rough part is folding and putting away. Can I have an amen? So Roger washed, dried, folded, and put away all the laundry. It was amazing. But then I'm getting ready for bed and I'm changing into my pajamas and I'm taking my clothes off. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm getting ready for bed." And he said, "But I did all the laundry and now there's more." And I'm like, "Welcome to every day of my life, my friend. This is just what it is." And it's the same with clutter. Clutter is never one and done. Now, when you get rid of something, the good news is when you get rid of something, you never have to deal with it again. That's a beautiful thing. But you are constantly going to have clutter coming into your lives, especially all of you with small children. They are clutter tornadoes and they just bring it into your house. But here's the thing. It's okay that you're going to have clutter for the rest of your life. I want you to get rid of the stuff you don't need, but I want you to learn how to manage the things that you do need. I want clutter to enter your life, but not take over your life. And I want you to be okay with that. And so that's part of what we're going to talk about. That's what we talk about in the book, and we talk about how to manage all the stuff. Number two, this is a great principle. Don't put it aside, put it away. Okay, so I tell this to myself all the time because the thing I'm normally telling myself is I'll have more time later. Like this week is crazy, but next week things will calm down. It will never calm down. It's never going to calm down. So don't put things aside when you think you'll have more time later because you won't, I promise you. But here's what I know is I tell myself, don't put it aside, put it away. But I say it in a loving way. Like, I know I'm busy. I know I'm doing a lot of things. I know I'm taking care of a lot of people. As I'm walking through the house, don't put it aside, put it away. And that way, I am taking care of my future self, which is one of the most important principles when it comes to not being overwhelmed and not being cluttered. If I do this now, I don't have to take care of it later. And that is a beautiful gift. Number three, be proactive, not reactive. Now, reactive decluttering is, "Oh no, my mother-in-law is coming over. I need to stash and dash," which is not decluttering. It's just causing a problem for later on. But being proactive, again, is that concept of taking care of your future self. If I put my keys away now, I will be able to find them tomorrow morning when I'm in a rush. If I lay my clothes out now, I will know what I'm going to wear tomorrow instead of being in a panic for when I need to do it. Being proactive says, "I would love for the space to have less clutter. I'm setting my alarm for 15 minutes. And that's all it takes is 15 minutes consistently to have a decluttered home." And you know, this is what grown-ups who don't have a staff do. This is how they have decluttered homes, is they work on it every single day. Not as a slave being put to the task, but as somebody who's saying, "I'm learning to lovingly take care of my home." Okay, number four, don't argue over stuff, negotiate space. Whoever the clutter person is in your house, whether it's you or somebody else, what we tend to do is pick on each other's stuff. "You haven't played that guitar in 20 years. Why do we still have it? You haven't played golf in 15 years. Why do you still have it?" We all have those things. And so arguing over stuff is attacking somebody else's treasures. And you can't do that. You just can't. It doesn't work. You can do it. It just doesn't work. So here's what I've learned is negotiate space. Each of you have a gorilla rack in the garage and say, "You have your gorilla rack, I have mine." Anything that is on the gorilla rack, I will not bug you about, and I ask you to do the same for me. And that way you can say, you know what, you can decide. There's a finite amount of room on a gorilla rack. Whatever is on there, you don't have to worry about. So you have his and her gorilla racks or his and her closets, and just be able to close the door on that and not have to worry about picking on somebody else's stuff, because we all have stuff we don't want to explain to other people. That's just how it is. Number five, in most situations, storage is just delayed decisions. I'm going to repeat that. In most situations, storage is just delayed decisions. So what you're doing is you're delaying the decision about what to do with that clutter until you have more time, until you have more energy. But here's the problem. Every year you're going to go through and clean the basement, clean the garage. You're going to open up the box, be overwhelmed by it, and put it back because, we all spend one day a year cleaning the garage and it kills us. So instead, I would rather you take 15 minutes, pull that box out, go through it, get rid of what you don't need, put into use what you do, and store only the things that you use, but not on a regular rotation. So like Christmas lights, or maybe it's gardening stuff or camping gear. Those are the kind of things we should be storing. And if you have a storage locker off site of your house, really consider how much time and money you are spending on that. One of my favorite things in Clutter-Free Academy is one of our people, every month, she posts $70. Just $70. And that's what she was paying in storage every single month for things that she really didn't need. Now, there was some stuff in there she brought home. She got rid of her storage locker. And every month that $70 goes into a vacation fund. Nothing makes me happier than to see money that was going for useless storage be going to connect as a family. I love it. Okay, number 6. Once you diagnose the clutter, you can dispense with the clutter. Here's the thing. We think clutter is just because we're lazy or messy. It's not. There are 3 reasons for clutter, and let me tell you what those are. The first one is fear, and that manifests itself in what if I need it someday? We all have that fear-filled thinking, what if I need it someday? I haven't scrapbooked in 15 years, but what if I wake up one morning and I'm dying to scrapbook? You know what I'm going to tell you? If you wake up one morning and you're dying to scrapbook, you're not going to want your old stuff. You're going to want new stuff. I know you. I promise. I know this. And by the way, does anybody scrapbook anymore? I don't know. I haven't been invited to one of those parties in a long time. Most of us are doing it digitally. So somebody gave me a great tip. Could you replace something that you get rid of in 20 minutes and less than $20? Now, here's the thing. If you had to replace all the things that you gave up, that would be cost prohibitive. Nobody can replace that many $20 bills. But if you're only replacing one thing and that earns you back a room in your house, a room's worth of space, can I tell you that $20 is totally worth it? So fear is the number one reason that we don't get rid of stuff, because what if I need it someday? The next thing is guilt. And how does that manifest itself? But so-and-so gave it to me. So maybe my great Aunt Matilda gave it to me, or somebody. But here's the thing. Stuff is not love. We'll talk more about that in a second. And then finally, so there's fear, there's guilt, and then there is shame. And how does that manifest itself? But I spent so much money on it. We've all done it. We've bought that pair of shoes that were crazy expensive, and we wore them and we realized mean people make shoes and they don't like women. But we can't give away the shoes because you spent so much money on it. But once you figure out why you're holding on to the clutter, the real gut reaction to why you're holding on to the clutter, that's when you can actually get rid of the clutter. Because when you realize, oh, this is fear. This is fear. And fear is not a reason to hold on to things. Fear is keeping you in bondage. Guilt is keeping you in bondage. Shame is keeping you in bondage. Get rid of those things. I promise you, you will not miss them. Number 7, things are not relationships. This is one of the hardest principles for us as society to come to grips with. I love when I give a gift to somebody and it's something that they love and I feel like, yay, I hit a home run. But here's the thing. People's tastes change, people's homes change, and a lot of people just don't want stuff in their home. So now when I give my kids a gift, I give them a gift with a gift receipt because I want them to be able to get what they will use and love and what they would buy for themselves anyway, or maybe something special that they never thought they would buy for themselves, but they would just love to have. Things are not relationships. If you are putting the worth of your relationship into things, that means you need to work on that relationship. It's as simple as that, my friend. Number 8, just in case thinking is impoverished thinking. Oh, if I'm holding on to old shoes that I don't like and wouldn't wear because they pinch, but I'm going to keep them just in case. This is such pessimistic thinking. It is not trusting God for our future. It just isn't. It just isn't. It isn't trusting that we can take care of ourselves. If we're holding on to food, canned food that's expired, this is impoverished thinking. It's so interesting. Some of you have heard this story before, and forgive me if you have, but it's the thing that changed all of my thinking about clutter. When I was a single mom, I was what we called four-syllable broke. I was baroque. I mean, we had no money. And I was living with my parents. Fortunately, we had a roof over our heads, but my kids were starting back to school and they needed shoes. And my son wore a size men's 11. He was in junior high and wore a size men 11. And I had no way, my kids were used to going to the mall to buy their things, but now as a single mom, I just didn't have the money. So we went to Goodwill. And can I just tell you, my kids had been to Goodwill before to drop things off. They'd never been there to shop for school essentials. And I just remember thinking I wanted so much better for my kids because, I was grateful that we had a roof over our heads, but my kids were starting a new school. They were going through our divorce, and my son was going to have to wear old man shoes. And, just as a junior higher, what that's like. And I wish I'd been this great mom who had taught my kids, it doesn't matter what your shoes like. And I feel like I had taught them those principles, but we were now living them out in a new and hard way. And so we get to the shoe rack and all of them are old men's shoes. And my son is like, oh my goodness, Mom. And my heart broke for him. He goes, oh, I'd like those shoes. But they were in the size 8.5. And I was like, oh, babe, you know what? I would have to literally cut the toes off for you to be able to wear them. And so I picked them up because they looked brand new and they had a brand new tag on it. I was fascinated because, here's a pair of shoes and they're brand new Nikes. They were $149. I'll never forget that. And I was like, $149, never been worn. And I look at the tag, and even though they were in the 8.5 section, they were a size 11 shoe. And I thought, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And so we were able to buy those shoes for my son for $15. And I will never forget how grateful I was to God that day for giving me a miracle in the middle of Goodwill. Something to just show my kids, what? God cares. God cares about those silly details that we don't even deserve for him to care about. But, I was so grateful to God that day. But who else I was grateful to? That man, or most likely his wife or girlfriend, who said, I bought you these shoes, but you never wear them. Let's just donate them. Instead of hanging on to them just in case, or, in case we can't afford to buy new shoes. They gave them and they provided a miracle for somebody else. Your stuff can be a miracle for somebody else. And so I would rather you give it away and let God, trust God to put it into the right hands instead of being untrusting about how God is going to provide for you tomorrow. And number 9, you deserve peace in your home. The Bible is riddled with verses about us experiencing peace here on earth. Peace is not just for people who don't have trials. We can have peace in our home. We have control over the peace we have in our home. I want you to up your peace level in where you live. Okay. So, some new things about the system in the Clutter-Free Home that I'm so excited to share with you guys. The Clutter-Free Home has 4 specific steps about how do you get purposeful with your home and declutter. So, step number 1 is to dedicate. Your room wants a purpose. It's dying for a purpose. And that's what this first step is all about. Determine the purpose of your room. So one of the things I want you to do is to go through each room in your house and determine the first 5 things that it's used for. Now, for some of you, they're going to be multi-purpose rooms, but not every room should be for every purpose. So for me, let's talk about my kitchen. Top 5 things that room is for is cooking, eating, connecting, working, and storing food. That's really what it's for. So when I am trying to do something different in there, and I'm like, well, this room isn't really working, it's because I'm not using it for the purpose it's intended. Now, some of you, like, your living room will also be your schoolroom, or your living room will also be your office, and that's okay. Just be specific about what that room is. Every room in your house is going to have multi-purposes. That's okay. But I want you to dedicate that room and know exactly what that room is being used for, because then you can tailor how you're going to purpose that room for what it needs to be doing. Is one of the things I found really helpful in that is when I have determined the room is to hang up just to put a Post-it note in there. This is what this room is for, so you can really dedicate the space, but also to have a quote up. And so I wanted to show you a couple of quotes, one that I've got up in my living room and one that I plan on putting in my kitchen. Now, the one in my living room, what my living room is connecting and entertaining and to be with other people. And I want it to be a place of refuge. And so when I found this quote, I knew this was perfect for our house. That house was a perfect house. Whether you like food or sleep or storytelling or singing or just sitting and thinking best or a pleasant mixture of them all, merely to be there was a cure for weariness, fear, and sadness. So I have this up in the red house at our house, and it just makes me so happy because this is what I want my house to be. This dedicates the purpose of my living room and what I want it to be. Now, this is the one for my kitchen. People who love to eat are always the best people. Julia Child. Amen, amen, amen. Okay, so once you've dedicated your room, I want you to decide how you want that room to feel. This is so important, my friends. So when I was thinking about my kitchen, I decided that I wanted it to feel clean and comfortable, creative, cozy, and connecting. Now, you don't have to have those all starting with the same letter, but you get bonus points if they do. So here's how I want that to manifest itself in my kitchen. I use the 5 senses for all the rooms in my house. Now, taste is probably going to be mostly for kitchen. Definitely don't want to taste in the bathroom. But if I want my kitchen to feel clean and comfortable and cozy, one of the things I can do is make sure I have a great water filtration system in my kitchen because I want it to feel clean and smell clean. I love Mrs. Meyer's lemon verbena for my dishwashing soap, for my kitchen spray, all that kind of thing. So for the smell, everything in my kitchen is Mrs. Meyer's lemon verbena, down to the candle that I have burning in there. Touch. I am not a fan of microfiber towels. They feel like they stick to my skin, and I don't even really have dry skin. So if somebody gives me a gift of microfiber towels, I have pre-decided that those don't belong in my kitchen. I'll give them to a friend who I know loves them. And so, but also I want to replace my kitchen towels more than every presidency. And so every couple of years, I'm going to get some new towels that make it look fresh and clean and comfortable and just wonderful. And so figure out how you want that room to look. Number 3, I want you to declutter that room. So I want you to make some, dedicate and then decide how you want that room to feel. And then I want you to declutter. We're going to talk more about that in a second. And then once you've decluttered, after you've decluttered 60%, so it's mostly decluttered, but it's not perfect, then I want you to do your thing. That's when I want you to buy the pillow. That's when I want you to replace the rug. I want you to declutter first, because here's what most people do. They want to put number 4 in number 3. They want to buy the cute things and then they'll declutter. Here's the problem. When we buy the cute things and we haven't decluttered, there's an old saying, it's like putting lipstick on a pig. I want you to have a clean space that you can decorate and you can see the greatness of your space, and you can add the things that are going to make it wonderful for you. So first, dedicate your space. Decide what's important in your space, declutter to 60%, and then you've earned the right and the space to do your thing. And so get the pillow, get the cute pillow. Okay, so I want to talk to you about decluttering. There are 2 parts that you are going to do for your decluttering routine. Daily decluttering. So every day you will spend 15 minutes decluttering one assigned room. So just 15 minutes. So you're going to declutter for 15 minutes in a room each day. So on one day it's going to be your bedroom, it's going to be your kitchen, whatever that is. So you're going to declutter for 15 minutes, and then for 5 minutes you're going to spend the time to get rid of the stuff. And so here's the schedule. Monday, you declutter your kitchen. Tuesday, it's your living room. Wednesday, it's your bedroom. Thursday, bathrooms. Friday, your office area. Even if you don't have your own room for that, that's what it is. And then Saturday, extra. So that's garage, basement, attic, storage, whatever it may be. And then Sunday, you get the rest of the day off. You just get to rest that day. No decluttering required. And here's what I want you to do is, we've talked about before, if you read Clutter-Free, the decluttering system. So you have a bag for other rooms, put back, and give away. And so you have those 3 bags, and those 3 bags, you stand in one spot for 15 minutes and you put everything that is out of place in that area into one of those 3 bags or garbage or recycling. And at the end of your 15 minutes, you're going to take those 3 bags. The giveaway, I really suggest you put a black garbage bag in the giveaway bag. And then when you're done decluttering, just wrap it up and take it directly to your car so none of your kids can see, because they're going to want to go through it and they're going to find a toy they haven't seen in 7 years and say, I've been looking for this for the rest of my life. And no. So just get it out of your house. Other rooms, put those things in other rooms, and you can put those away either that day if it's just a couple of things, or you can save it for the next time you're doing your decluttering. And then put back is anything that belongs in that room that's just out of place. So you can do that right there. It's going to take you about 5 minutes and it's going to be amazing. So those are your 15 daily routine. So every day for 15 minutes, you're going to declutter in one assigned room. And then once a week, you're going to take 60 minutes and you're going to do a deep decluttering in the room that is making you the craziest until it's mostly decluttered. So you may spend 6 weeks, an hour each week, 6 weeks on your kitchen. That's great. You're going to have one room that is completely decluttered, and it's going to feel amazing. It's going to be the best day of your life. So for these core principles, you can go to Clutter-Free. We've got all of that for you. I wanted to let you guys know about another book that we've just released that is coming out for this Christmas, the Christmas Project Planner, because I know a lot of clutter happens around Christmas. This has been released October 1st, and you can get it on Amazon, but it's going to help you have a more decluttered Christmas. I would love for you guys to join us over in Clutter-Free Academy and Facebook. Thank you so much for being with me today. My web address is KathyLipp.com, or you can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to answer any questions for you. And finally, if you're doing this as a group, go ahead and text CFH LEAD to the phone number 855-614-9392. And I would love to send you all the resources so that you can do this together as a group. Because let me tell you, one of the best things you can do is to hold each other accountable. We all think that we're the only people who have clutter, but let me just tell you, more than 66% of women in America struggle with clutter. This is an issue that is hurting a lot of us. And if we can open up and we can share that this is an important part for each and every one of us, it is going to cause you to connect as a group and to go deeper together. And I just want to leave you with a quote that means so much to me about why it's so important for us to have a decluttered, comfortable space. The magic thing about home is that it feels good to leave and it feels even better to come back. I want your home to be a place of peace. I want your kids to grow up in a home where it feels like peace is what reigns, where we can operate with a sense of peace and purpose in our homes. We give our kids and ourselves a sense of security like no other. Let peace reign in your home because, my friend, peace is possible. Thanks so much for letting me hang out with you today.